So again I'll repeat, the Himalayan rivers which join the Ganga after Allahabad from west to east are the Gomti, the Gandak and the Kosi. The flow of river slows down due to the load of sediments it's carrying. Now because of the load of sediments, now what are sediments? Sediments are the matter that collects in the bottom of flow of liquid. Okay, so like you take, and you must be having these experiments done in your general science. What are sediments? What are okay? There are few filtration and things like that. So you take a small glass of a beaker, you see, when that's what it's called, and you have mud and water. Just stir it, and leave it stay still, untouched for some time. You see slowly that water which had made that mud which had made the water so muddy and so blur in nature, it settles right at the bottom. So that part is known as sediment. This whole process is known as sedimentation. So invariably when the rivers are flowing across, flowing down a hill or flowing down a plain, it is carrying a lot of things with it. Okay, so these are the sediments. So now the flow of river decreases because of the load of these sediments which the river Ganga has to carry. Therefore, before entering sea, all these rivers, most of them, and Ganga river especially, they all go and meet the sea, the Bay of Bengal. Okay, it leaves the deposits of its sediments on its mouth and hence branches into distributaries and forms a delta. Now we have learned about what are tributaries. There's another word which is known as distributary. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so there's another word which is known as distributaries. Now, in the distributaries, suppose this is the main river. Why this main river is entering the mouth of the sea, and this is the part is called the mouth of the river. Okay, it is forming into branches. So these small rivers which originate from the main river or come out from this big river, they are known as distributary. Okay, main river, smaller rivers. Now, so when such these things have happened at the mouth of the river, which is about that area which is about to enter the sea, they form a delta. They form a delta. Okay, delta is almost kind of a triangular in shape. Okay, you must have done the shapes in your mathematics, in your arithmetic, circle, square, rectangle. So triangle is again some arithmetic shapes which you must have come across. So delta is almost a shape of a triangle. The Ganga and the Brahmaputra join together in Bangladesh. Now again, there are so many rivers joining the Ganga. Now there's another big river, the Brahmaputra, is joining Ganga in Bangladesh. Bangladesh, as you know, it's a neighboring country, and make the largest desert together. When they come together, they form the largest delta in the world, which is known as Sundarban. Sundarban. Okay, Sundar is the name of the trees found there, and Ban is the jungle. Okay, so Sundarban together. Okay, largest delta, remember, largest delta in the world. Okay, again coming to the diagram, so you can see Ganga is coming from here, Brahmaputra is coming from there. Okay, from this side, from the eastern side of our country, from west the river Ganga is coming. Before starting the Brahmaputra basin, let's get into the extra bite that we have in our text. The areas of India that are in the plains are Assam. They name the states which are in the plains. Assam, Bihar, Gujarat, Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, Meghalaya, and yes, our state, Jharkhand is also there. Some part of Jharkhand is also comes under the northern plains, Odisha and Delhi. The Brahmaputra basin. We can read this. Do you know? Again, very important. Very important. Here, while entering West Bengal, as you know, one of the states which are neighboring Jharkhand, the Ganga branches off into two main streams. So again, it tributes, the tributaries of Ganga, two main rivers. One branch flows into West Bengal and is called the Hooghly. The other branch crosses into Bangladesh, goes to the other country, Bangladesh, where it is known as Padma. So remember, main Ganga goes into two main rivers. River which goes into Bengal is known as Hooghly. You must have seen the famous Howrah Bridge of near station Howrah, West Bengal, Kolkata. That is flowing. That Howrah Bridge is flowing over the river Hooghly. Okay. Then the other part which goes into Bangladesh, the other neighboring country, that is known as Padma. Coming to the main text, the Brahmaputra basin. The Brahmaputra river originates in Tibet. Remember, it is originating in Tibet. Tibet, again, a small autonomous state between China, Nepal, okay, and India, where it is known as Yalung Zangbo. Again, a little bit of Chinese and Nepalese name to it. This river is longer compared to the Indus, and most of its coast lies in Tibet. The Arunachal Pradesh, it is called, in Arunachal Pradesh, it is called Dihang. So when it comes into our part of the country, Arunachal Pradesh, again major state of northeast state of our country, beautiful state. Here it is known as Dihang. After the convergence of the Lohit river and the Bang river, it is named as Brahmaputra. Convergence, you must have come across another word, convergence. Okay, when two rivers meet, one here they meet at a spot, okay, that is known as convergence. When people two or more things meet together, that is known as convergence, okay, of Lohit river and Dibang river. After that, then it is known as Brahmaputra. Finally, it enters Bangladesh and falls into the Bay of Bengal. This region of India is very fertile due to heavy rainfall, very fertile. Fertile, again, like I explained to you earlier in this class, it is the capacity of the soil to grow crops better. It is called, and that is why it is called the food bowl of India. So this region, okay, because of its fertility, it helps us to grow food for us, crops for us. That is why it is known as food bowl of India. You know what's a bowl? Where mama and dad, they serve food for us. They take out the food from there and they service us into our plates. Importance of the northern plains. Very, very important part of the chapter. Why? Because this questions, most of the time it is asked in your examination. Okay, so please pay attention. This needs more focusing. Importance of the northern plains. The northern plains are very important for the country in the following ways. Number one, the plains have fertile alluvial soils, as explained. Alluvial, what it means, which are excellent for growing good grains as well as cash crops. Cash crops. Cash crops. Crops or crops. Cash crops are those crops which are specially grown in bulk, in more number, to earn money, to generate money. Rice, okay, wheat, they are the crops which we need to be fed with. They are not very expensive as compared to cash crops like coffee, tea, These are very expensive. Okay, cashew nuts, almonds, they grow. They have to be grown. They are known as rubber, cash crops. But because we need wheat, we need rice, we need our pulses. They are like a dals. So they are not known as cash crops. Number 2, the plains have ideal climate for growing a variety of crops. Very, very thankful to God, thankful to nature that this part of our country gets a wonderful climate so that we have a growing of variety of crops. Majorly the Himalayan range helps us to have a beautiful climate because it makes the monsoon wind turn back and have rainfall. There is a good network of roads and railways in the plains. Flat surface, easy for us to make roads and railways compared to the hills. Okay, mountains, difficult, little. Then there are many agro-based. Agro-based. Agro comes from the word agriculture. You all know what is agriculture? When the farmers, they have to plow the ground, put the seeds, water it, look after it, give any pesticides, fertilizers if needed, and help it to grow and then sell. So all this requires not only seeds. Agro-based means industries which are there involved in getting agriculture. From the seeds, there are some traders who sell seeds. Okay, there are some traders who help them with tube wells. Generator generates electricity so that the water pump can be operated. Water can be sent to the different fields. Okay, there are chemicals, there are machineries, tractors, plowing tools. Okay, chemicals and fertilizers which are important, transportation, storage. All these, they are agro-based. Storage required. Yes, we do require a place to store our grains. We can't let it be open, lying in the open, and the rain and other things can spoil it. Then number 5, it says perennial rivers are useful for irrigation as several canals have been taken out from them. Perennial, it is a kind of a river which has water all throughout the year. It is very important. You can see sometime when you go on your road trip, go on your railway trip journey, you can see there are some big river, yes, but the water flow is very small. They are dried up. So those are not known as rivers. Okay, perennial rivers like the Ganga, Brahmaputra, Yamuna, they have water throughout the year.